Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I would just like to offer my final thoughts, basically, on Perfect Order before it releases. Just go over some cards that I'm personally looking forward to, and just talking about my overall thoughts on the set, because honestly, it's a bit of a mixed bag, this one. It's not a very big set, which is sort of underwhelming, and I know Chaos Rising, which releases in May, is also in a very similar position, whereby there's really just not a lot of cards in the main set. So like we just don't have a lot really to discuss really with this set. Like there's not too many new decks to try out. There's like one standout deck in particular, which is of course Zygarde Barbaracle. But aside from that, there's really not much else. So I thought I would just go through the set list, see if I can find any deck ideas to share with you guys, and offer some thoughts on the cards. So yeah, the Ariados line I don't think is that interesting. Like maybe if we got some crazy new ways to poison or like buff poison damage. But yeah, the whole poison retreat thing, not really super strong in the game right now. Same thing for Shaman, not too strong. The new Superior, I think, could be okay as a budget deck. Like the problem with stage twos right now is your Pokemon are very fragile, right? They're very fragile, so they're prone to being picked off by like Monkey Dories and Dragapults. Now, thankfully, we do have plenty of ways to protect our Pokemon now. We've got the new Patrat that's coming out in Chaos Rising. We've got the Psyduck to protect you from Dusknoir. So, there is like plenty of options, but like they're still very fragile. They're still like kind of clunky, to be honest. Like Typhlosion and Alakazam, I think are very definite standouts. But I do think Superior could be okay, like 250 if you have Rosa's Encouragement in your disco pile, which just means effectively that we need to use like Meganium basically to pay for this attack cost. And then after that, we could start using like Rosa's Encouragement to accelerate some energy. But you might not want to play like 4 copies of Rosa. You might just want to play 2 or 3. But yeah, honestly, I think this could be a little bit of fun. But aside from that, not really a crazy good deck. This Pavilion, potentially a Decidueye EX partner, just because it forces your opponent to shuffle their hand into the bottom of their deck and then draw 4, which is quite nice synergy with this Decidueye EX. So, with the ability Sniper Eye, if your opponent has exactly 4 cards in their hand, ignore all colors in the Pokemon's attack cost. So Crush Arrow does 240 for a grass, and then assuming you get that effect off, it's for no additional energy. So 240 and discarding energy for 1 energy is quite nice. I'll definitely say I prefer Beedrill that's coming out in Chaos Rising, I think it is. So like Beedrill EX, I think is just a bit better as an attacker overall. But this with some Crushing Hammers, maybe we can find enough deck space to include some other energy disruption and really like lean into that, because otherwise 240, it's solid damage. Like it is solid, but you're KOing what, like Raging Ball, that Sobble EX thing, Wellspring Ogerpon, forget what it's called, and the Terrapagos and stuff like that. You're not really getting like the much bigger Pokemon like Zoroark that see a lot of play right now. So yeah, 240, like it's solid amount of damage. Of course, Charizard, I feel like was sticking around post rotation, but it's not. I think Lucario is Lucario weak to grass, or is Lucario weak to psychic? Actually, Lucario might be just weak to psychic, so that's fine. But yeah, like this seems okay at the very least. This with Rallycanth, I'll have to check the wording because I'm not sure if Rallycanth would affect by this. I'm pretty sure it does. But if you get Rallycanth in play, then you might be able to just do 90 snipe to one of your opponent's Pokemon, which could be cool. So that's also a nice option that we can mess around with. But yeah, again, seems like a C tier kind of deck though. Nothing like too crazy going for it. We've got a Talonflame, which I don't think is very good, sadly. It's more of a GLC piece. This Salazzle EX, I'm thinking like maybe could be okay. 100 damage. Opponent's active is now poisoned and burned. Then you get to switch it on your bench Pokemon. So sadly, we are losing Mimikyu to rotation. I'm thinking we'll probably see another wall Pokemon sooner or later that is a basic, probably protect itself from Megas and regular EX. But aside from that, we have Crustle at the very least. So dual stage 1 deck guys with like Crushing Hammers, Crustle, maybe even the Baby Peckrunt to increase your poison damage. So like we could do something there, which is nice. Turtonator sadly I think is trash. Dugong is kind of interesting, but I don't think it's good enough right now. The Starmie EX seems kind of cool. 120 damage and then 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Bench Pokemon, I should say. And you don't apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon. 50 damage, not a lot. It's definitely a setup attack. You could combine this with other spread moves, though, of course. It doesn't have an ability, so like you could combo this with Frostlass. I'm thinking maybe dual megas, just Mega Frostlass, Mega Starmie, regular Frostlass, just something like that. And then maybe Nebula Beam, like for ignition energy, I should say. So like, yeah, seems solid. Again, like maybe a B or C tier kind of deck. Definitely not A tier or S tier, but seems all right. We've got a Lapras EX, which is there a way to power up water energy in standard right now that's actually good? Like, 'cause we are losing, of course, Baxcalibur. So can we ramp up energy to this guy is the question. I don't think so. Is there any way, like, if we had a way of getting energy on the bench, then maybe we could use Dugong, but I don't think there's like a proper way of getting this guy ramped up. And honestly, with you guys, 30 damage just isn't really the modifier that it used to be. Like 20 damage used to be sizable in Sun and Moon. 30 damage was all right in like Sword and Shield. But I think now we're in the territory of like 330 HP Pokemon being competitive and also giving up 2 prizes, which is crazy. I do think the 30 damage modifiers just really aren't what they could be. Like Honchkrow is barely getting by on his 60 modifier. So yeah, 30 damage, not really doing it for me. This Aurorus, I think, is interesting. I don't think it's very good, though. It's like, it's still gonna fall victim to that whole fossil thing where it's like a stage 2, it's kind of awkward to get into play. And, like, I want to believe in these cards. I want to be optimistic, and I am kind of optimistic about Tyrantrum as a budget deck. But as for, like, fossils in general, I don't think they're just gonna, like, radically get better. I think what fossils could really do with is an item that is literally just search your deck for 2 unidentified fossils or like whatever, fossil item you want to generalize a name with and put them onto your bench. Just 2 of them, because their new approach to making fossils competitive is to print like basic fossil items which have like unique abilities, which is cool card design. Props to them for trying out something different. But at the same time, it's just not enough to make these guys consistent, and especially with the loss of Arvin. So like we can't even like have a good way of finding fossils. You've got Petrol, I guess, but it's not really great. Wasting a supporter to find a single basic. It's just like, yeah, it's just a bit really. At least we have Pokepads, so we can actually find the evolutions more easier. But yeah, overall, I would say I still think fossils are just, yeah, they're still just a bit too clunky and inconsistent, which is a shame. But I would be up for giving Aurorus a go in something if anyone has any deck suggestions. But yeah, it seems kind of fun. It's just a bit too inconsistent. The Volcanion, a bit of fun on coin flips, but again, I'm not really sure how we're getting energy on Volcanion. We've got a Luxio, which can evolve up quite quickly if your opponent's active as an EX, but the Luxray just isn't really doing it for me, so not a lot of damage there, sadly. We do have a new Mega Clefable, which is cool. Wings of Light to prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities, aka Monkey Dory. So that's kind of cool. Would protect you from Dusknoir as well. So like you, in theory, don't need to play Psyduck in this list, which is cool. Shooting Moon for 2 Psychic does 120, and you may discard up to 4 energy cards from your hand. And if you do 40 more damage for each card discarded in this way. So that's what, 280 tops? I mean, that's not awful. You do have to find ways of getting 4 energy in your hand every single turn in, turn out. Like, getting them in your hand is hard enough, but then you've got to recycle them all the time as well, which I think could be kind of annoying for Clefable. Like, we do have this, where is it? This Aromatisse that can find you 2 basic Psych Energy, which is kind of cool. And you could also play like Lily's Clefairy, so you can one-shot Dragapult quite easily. But yeah, I think overall, not a terrible card, just maybe more of a C or D tier kind of card. We've got a new Probopass, not very good. A new Hippopotapus, kind of annoying, but not very good. Definitely not a competitive card. I mean, this Hippodam, again, seems kind of interesting, right? You could use Barbaracle, power it up, mill 3 every turn, but like, it's, you're just only doing 80 damage. It's really not good enough. Like, if this was mill 6 or 7, no pun intended, I think that maybe this Hippodam could be Hippodam could be relevant to some degree, but yeah, I do apologize for that joke. But yeah, Tornado Drill, sadly, not really doing a lot of damage or a lot of mill, and most of this is rubbish. The Barbaracle, of course, probably a standout. I think Barbaracle might honestly be like the best card in the set, maybe second best actually. Forget about Meowth. Meowth is Meowth is number one, but Barbaracle could be second best with Stone Arms. Very, very good ability. Definitely opens the door to fighting types in general. So Tyrantrum might actually be usable now, which is cool. But yeah, this with Tyrantrum, Okidogi, Blood Moon, Mega Lucario, or well, Zygarde, of course. But yeah, but Baracle, it's a very good card. So at least we have something there, right? We have Tyrant with Get Angry, 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So there is a funny combo here where you let your Tyrantrum get hit, and then your Running Canth just lets you one-shot anything with Get Angry, which is quite funny. I'm assuming you just always play Running Canth for that reason, because I don't think you can rare candy an Antique Jaw Fossil. I don't think you can. You might be able to, but I think there's some weird ruling where it's not quite a Pokemon and it doesn't work. If that's not true though, and you can actually rare candy these, I still think you would run Tyrant and Rancanth because it just makes sense, right? Like you just get to use this massive one cure move. Sounds pretty good. And Tyrantrum can tank a hit, funny enough, because Tyrannoguts means we get plus 150 HP if it has any special energy. So pretty useful. And then Wreak Havoc, which honestly we could actually use Neo Upper Energy if we wanted to as an ace bag. But yeah, Wreak Havoc does 160, flip a coin to get tails, for each heads, discard top card opponent's deck. Again, I wish this was like mill 2 cards and then flip a coin to get tails. Like they need to find a way of maybe making these attacks a bit better. But you know, because it's a fossil at the end of the day, it's a lot of work to get one of these bad boys out to play. But I get that they don't want to make it too OP or whatever, but 160 plus an additional effect plus this effect, I think would be better. But you know, it's still very solid. Cool for GLC at least. I've got a Howlucha, which can do 90 damage if any adventure Pokemon have any damage counters on them. 90 damage. You know, this is not Sun and Moon, right? 90 damage is not going to do anything. Mega Zygarde, Gaia Wave, I think was all right. Yeah, this attack's okay. Like, it's not terrible. It's just like the nullifying zero, which is like the reason you actually want to play Zygarde. But it is a coin flip move. It does take 5 fighting energy. I have to be brutally honest. There are going to be games where this deck will just not do anything. Like, it will fall apart. And of course, Shaman is a thing. But if we can get past that, then yeah, this Mega Zygarde could put in some serious work. Of course, at that point, I would say probably best to put it with Mega Lucario, just because Mega Lucario we know is a good deck post rotation. It's like solid B tier. So like having just 1 or 2 Mega Zygarde in a Lucario deck is probably the way to go, really. And then if you really want to use Nullifying Zero, then it's there as an option. But like, it's just a bit of a meme at the end of the day. It's not a good card. But like, it is funny, right? It is really funny. There is going to be games where you board wipe your opponent. It's going to be very satisfying to get it on camera as long as your opponent doesn't concede. But yeah, it's a fun card. I am looking forward to Mega Zygarde, but yeah, it's just not the best, and that's supposed to be the flagship deck of this set as well, which is pretty grim. We've got this new Gengar, which sadly I don't think is good enough to be a budget deck. I might try it out with some other like single prize attackers, do like a bit of a single prize budget box kind of deck, but I think overall not a very good attacker. This Drapion, it's kind of there. This Yveltal might be interesting. Knock out each of your opponent's Pokemon that has 50 or less HP remaining. I mean, we need to shrink our opponent's Pokemon down first. So, like, how are we doing that? I guess we're using Frostlass and, like, the single prize Yveltal, which can spread damage. We've got, like, Ting-Lu to spread damage, maybe? Is that maybe a deck? You know, Death Soul? Is that maybe? They're probably changing that translation, actually. But yeah, is this worth looking into? I mean, maybe. Is there something here? I feel like this would be good in a spread deck. You definitely don't want to pay 3 energy just to finish something off. Like, that's definitely not good enough. But, like, maybe in some kind of crazy spread deck, this is where, like, a finisher comes in. It's just kind of expensive, you know? 2 dark and a colors. It's a lot of energy. Chien Pao's rubbish. Mega Skarmory could be a sizable buff to Mega... No, not Mega Metagross, but regular Metagross. Stevens. So like 220 to one of your opponent's Pokemon, Sniper Fez, Sniper Meowth, but again, you do have to worry about, you know, Shaman. But yeah, maybe this with a Metagross could be quite fun, actually. This Dual Blade looks to be a solid budget deck, which is really cool. I say budget, and you need to play like 2 or 3 Genesect DX, which kind of sucks, but yeah, overall, quite a nice little solid budget deck, which is cool. We have a new Raticate, which, in all honesty, I think is just a worse Taurus. I don't know why they printed like this same attack that they just printed on Taurus for Raticate. It just doesn't really make sense to me card design wise, and I don't see why we also need a new Raticate every 3 sets either. But like, I love Raticate. Don't get me wrong, I love the rats, but like, we've literally just seen this attack on Paldean Taurus. I really don't think we needed to see this attack again. It does have some synergy with the Diggersby, which is kind of fun. So like, there's a little budget cute deck to be had out of there. Maybe play that at your local league challenge or whatever. But honestly, doesn't seem that strong. Like, if I'm being brutally honest, it doesn't seem good enough. Like, it's just not a great modifier, and it's the same modifier as Taurus. So why would you just not play Taurus? Like, it just frustrates me. I don't know why they do this, but yeah, some perplexing card design for sure. The Alfie X, definitely a good card. I don't think I need to go on and on and on about how good Meowth is. But if you all happen to be new to the game and you made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, it is just a very good effect being able to search your deck for a supporter card. Not every deck will run this, by the way, but I do think it's worth it in a lot of builds. So it's just finding the right list for it to be played in, because it is a bit of a liability, right? 170 HP, 2 prize Pokemon, definitely even more of a liability than Pheasantipity. So yeah, something to bear in mind if you're considering Meowth EX, but a very good card. Snorlax is bulk. Diggersby we just talked about, like Raticate, and that's about it, really, sadly. Fletchling, this is sad. One of my first proper decks, actually, was Talonflame Break in the XY era, so fun little throwback for Fletchling, but sadly we don't have a good Talonflame. Furfur is rubbish. These are like the fun fossils. Sadly, I don't think these are very good. The Antique Sail fossil is kind of interesting, actually. Can't be affected by supporter cards. So your opponent won't be able to boss Antique Sail fossil. So if you're actually playing Aurorus, that gives it a bit of protection, which is cool. But yeah, aside from that, not very good. Core Memory, I do actually kind of like. 350 for 4 fighting. You do have to discard all energy, which is expensive, but we do have Tarragon to retrieve the energy at the very least. So that's cool. But yeah, 350 for 4 fighting is, yeah, that's a lot of damage. It is a tool card, and we've just lost Arvin, so it's going to be very hard to find this card. But if we can use Petrol or something, then, that's okay. Crushing Hammer, I'm not sure if this is a reprint, as in the regulation mark gets reset for another few years, or if this is just like a Scarlet Violet reprint, and that means, that's the same for both of these. But hopefully it's a direct reprint, so we get this for a couple more years, because on the contrary to most people, I do actually quite like Crushing Hammer. I think it's a good card to have in the format. Energy Swatter, I think, is actually just kind of rubbish, so a bit of a shame there. Hole Digging Shovel is quite funny. Discard the top 2 cards of your deck. You heard me correctly, your deck. I'm not sure what would run this, but I'm sure there's something, right? I'm sure there's something. You're much better off. Like, if you're playing a deck which wants to discard cards, like, you could argue, like, oh yes, Saraluge wants to play this. I wouldn't even run this in Saraluge. Like, I would just play Research and Ultra Ball and stuff. I really do not like having low control over what I'm discarding from my deck. So, yeah, Holding Shovel I don't think is very good. Jacynth, or Jacynthia, could be okay with Mega Fable, actually. Just a bit of tanky healing. Judge is lovely to see. We do love Judge. Luminos City, I think this card is trash. Luminos Chalet, I don't think this card is very good. Naveen, I don't think this card is very good. Pokeball is rubbish. Pokepad, oh, thank goodness we get to an actual good card. Yeah, Pokepad is good. So that's a good thing about this set, is that we have like another way of actually getting Pokepad, because Ascended Heroes is a special set, and the special sets are notoriously difficult to get IRL. So it's bad enough as it is with sets. Pokepad makes it a bit easier. Pokemon Catcher, kind of rubbish. But to be honest though, where credit is due, okay? It's a lot of credits. But where credit is due, Pokemon Catcher has been popping up in like a couple of Mega Lucario lists. So, maybe that's something worth bearing in mind. Potion, I think, is rubbish as always. Heal 30 damage. I mean, come on, guys. Like, what are we doing? Healing 30 damage? Like, really? Not even like heal 60 if it's a Mega or something. Like, this should be heal 20, but like heal 50 if it's an EX. I don't know. Like, they could do something a bit more interesting. Rosa's Encouragement. You can only use this card if you have more prize cards remaining in your opponent. Attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your stage 2s. Yeah, okay. Like another option for Dragapult Energy Acceleration, which is what everyone really wants right now. I mean, it's good for other things though, like not to be bitter and twisted. Like single prize decks will love this, like single prize stage twos. I'm looking at you for alligator. Maybe now's your chance to shine. But like I think this is solid. Like it's nice to always get like some moderate buffs for single prize Pokemon, which is what this is. So I quite like it. But if this just ends up being played in Dragapult and nothing else, I will kind of cry. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Tarragon, yeah, it's quite nice. Bit nice for Zygarde, and then the special energies are like whatever. Although I mean, telepathic is pretty good, right? Telepathic's good. It's very good for Alakazam. But the other special energies, I don't think I'll see all that much play. But yeah, it's just like it's one of those things where the set just does not offer a lot of cards, and the cards that it is offering, some of them are good. You know, Zygarde, Barbaracle, Meowth. There's a couple of one-offs in here, but really deck-wise, we're not getting a lot of options, and that is kind of frustrating. I would say my most anticipated card from this set is probably just Mega Zygarde. Although Tyrantrum, if I can get it to work, could be my new favorite deck. But I'm just saying that because I love Tyrantrum. It's not a great card, guys. Let's be real here. It's not great, but like it is fun at the end of the day. And that's the main thing about the Pokemon TCG. Of course, it's not just about like what's competitive, what's going to make top 8 at the latest tournament. It is about having fun with cards and stuff. And if you're willing to accept a few losses in between, then you can have a lot of fun with this set, I'm assuming. So, like I'm still looking forward to this. I don't think it's the worst set we've ever seen. This is nowhere near like Vivid Voltage levels of bad. But like at the same time, I do hope that Chaos Rising shakes things up a little bit. I hope so at the very least. Although having seen the Japanese meta lately, it does look like to be 25% Dragapult, which is disgusting if that ends up being the case in the West as well. Like we might just get tournaments where like half of top 8 is Dragapult, and we'll just have to live with that until the Mega Rayquaza and the Darkrai EX set comes out. But yeah, looking forward to Mega Rayquaza. We'll see what that thing does. It'd be quite funny if they just made Mega Rayquaza broken. But yeah, we'll talk more about that when it gets revealed in a couple of weeks or something. But yeah, this is Spin Emma Power. Let me know what you think down below. Are you excited for Perfect Order? And yeah, thank you for watching.